Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is the Astrology of November 2018. It's quite a long presentation, so it may run to two parts. So if I suddenly cut out, go to the second part to continue watching the video. And it's an astrology and healing newsletter. And so, as usual, the newsletter starts with a presentation by my wife, Maggie Pashley. And the presentation this month, November 2018, is Future Life Progression. And do watch the video and read the blog for that. It's quite a wonderful healing technique done under hypnosis, where, well, just as one example, you can visualize where your life will be in 5 years' time. And you might well be very surprised what you see. And if you like what you see, then now you can strategize so as to make it even better and use it as an inspiration and as a guide. And if you don't like what you see, your life in 5 years' time, you can focus on what needs to be altered now to bring about a better future, a very worthwhile healing. So, turning to the astrology, well, I start with a couple of general topics. So the first one is about the film Bohemian Rhapsody, the life and death of Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of the pop group Queen. And the astrology is really quite significant because his Vedic astrology declares his destiny in an awesomely accurate way. And weirdly, Venus is very significant because Venus now in the heavens is where Venus was in his birth chart. The position of his sun in terms of the nakshatras, the powerful, wonderful 27-sign lunar zodiac, gives a tremendous clue to his Venus issues because it's in Purva Palguni nakshatra ruled by Venus, but in the difficult second pada ruled by Mercury, where Venus cannot perform well. And to have a strong Venus doesn't make that easier. It's quite fascinating the way Vedic astrology depicts his life and destiny and death. And there's a write-up in this blog, the general blog for the Astrology and Healing of November 2018. But do look out for the follow-up individual blog. There's a follow-up individual blog for each one of the constituent topics. And certainly the one which will come out shortly on Freddie Mercury and why a film about him, Bohemian Rhapsody, should come out now. It is utterly fascinating and quite awesome. And the next topic, the general topic, before we look at the detailed movements of the planets in November 2018, is about Halloween. You see, I'm filming this in the far mystical west of Ireland. It has a remote and special beauty. Its rocks have amazingly high energies. And it is packed with history and prehistory. And of course, the start of November is Samhain or Halloween. And so I include an image from the Samhain or Halloween celebration at the village of Easkey on the Atlantic coast near us. And in the following blog post, you will be astounded at what the Irish, or particularly the west of Ireland, do for Halloween. And one reason I'm mentioning this is because it's extremely valuable to have charted our personal predictive astrology. For example, our progressions, our transits, and of course the wonderful Vedic predictive periods, the dashas and sub-periods. But we have to remember that humanity is also affected by the great seasonal transitions of the year, and Samhain has been celebrated in this area of Ireland for 5,500 years, and it is the time when autumn has ended and winter is begun, and it is the time, because of that transition, that dislocation in the everyday, that the veils between the worlds are thin. And we mustn't forget the power of the ancient seasonal festivals that truly affect our energies too. And of course, in addition to that, in addition to the 4 seasonal festivals, like Imbolc, Beltane, Samhain and so forth, there are also the solstices and the equinoxes. And they are powerful. And indeed, there are ancient tombs on the mountaintops and other places around here, which are actually aligned to the solstices and the equinoxes. The ancient people who built those 5,500 years ago felt the energies, knew about the energies, and were attuned to them, just as they were attuned to the earth energies. So it's right to see the ancient context. And I think the more one lives in touch with the earth, the more one feels the great transitions within the year. So we'll then move on to the movements of the planets in November 2018. So basically, note that Sun starts November 2018 at 15 degrees Vedic Libra and ends November at 14 degrees Vedic Scorpio. And it's quite important to feel the different energies affecting the Sun radiance, the Sun presence in our lives, because in Libra, the Sun is debilitated. And so, those with Libran Sun, whatever else they might have in their charts, can be a case of, let me be the glove that fits your hand, or the person who always balances up. We need a strong Sun to direct our life and destiny. The divine Sun's energy is to strategize and command and shine blessings on others. And Libra is the very opposite of that. And so for the first half of November, Sun is in Libra. And we may feel this, and it may affect our decisiveness and our ability to command our lives and progress our projects. But Sun in Libra, of course, also enhances our connection to the performing arts and beauty. And you just wouldn't believe the culture that blossomed in nearby Sligo during this period. So over the last weekend, let me see. Well, first of all, we saw quite an amazing performance by a meek young woman called Vera Violent, who changes personality completely the moment she touches her double bass. And, high-rise buildings nearby didn't survive. And it was very invigorating, amazing to listen to. And then, the following evening, we watched the performance of Wagner's Die Walküre. And the music And the singing was utterly superb, although it was clear that Wagner knew nothing about Odin as a god and portrayed him in a way that was in fact an insult to that. But what an epic. There was so much. We did an archaeological tour of the Iski area, which ended up with a free meal being given, and everyone who went on it, I think it was 5 coachfuls, was serenaded by a choir, a circle of 20 children. This area is completely musical. You just so often see people of all ages walking around with musical instruments. And then, indeed, there's a wonderful Catalan guy in Sligo who set up a wonderful international group called No Crows, and he was playing. And so, this is so typical of how the sort of Libra emphasis can manifest. And of course, it's not just the sun in Libra, as you'll be hearing. But anyway, the sun moves out of its debilitation in Vedic Libra on November the 16th. And so it then enters Vedic Scorpio and is soon in Anuradha Nakshatra. And there's quite extraordinary interaction between Sun, Jupiter and Mercury, all close and interacting together in November 2018. And indeed, around the end of November, November the 26th, there's a Sun, Jupiter, Mercury conjunction in Scorpio. Okay, let's go on to the lunations. Well, the new moon is on the 7th of November, and it's at 21 degrees Vedic Libra in Vishakha Nakshatra, and the western tropical zodiac degree is 15 degrees Scorpio. And it's quite a spectacular chart indeed, with the Uranus opposition Venus square the nodal axis. More about that later. And then the full moon is on the 23rd of November. And that's at 6 degrees Vedic Taurus in Kritika Nakshatra. And in the western tropical zodiac, the new moon is just under 1 degree Gemini, the sun just under 1 degree Sagittarius. And that is a spectacular chart. And of course, I'll be doing separate blog posts, look out for them, on both the new moon and the full moon. So note that there's a moon Ketu conjunction, a moon south node conjunction on the 13th of November. It's in Capricorn and it's in Uttarashada Nakshatra. And moon Ketu conjunctions aren't easy for the mind, for the stability of the mind. And of course the moon changes sign every 2.5 days, and which sign the moon is in is a prime determinant of the stability of our minds and the level of control we can have over our mind scripts. Look up the Ashtaka score for your moon in each single one of the Vedic signs, and you'll see how supported or otherwise you are for dealing with moon. And particularly watch out for signs where there's a low score, a low Ashtaka score, and particularly look out for signs where there's a drop from high to low, because that can really throw us. Okay, let's look at Mercury in November 2018. Well, as I said, Mercury joined Jupiter in Vedic Scorpio on the 26th of October. And in fact, Mercury remains there until January the 1st. Although Mercury will be retrograde from November the 17th to December the 6th. And this is important. Note that when Jupiter and Mercury are transiting conjunct like this, it's ever such a good time for writing. And indeed, I'm writing a novel now and have been struggling to find enough time. But I feel that in the long-drawn attempts to edit my novel, my concept and awareness of what the novel is really about has grown. And so I'm absolutely firm in the determination to give several evenings a month during this wonderful time of Jupiter and Mercury being together in Vedic Scorpio in the month ahead. And for those of you who are interested, I sort of outlined the novel at the level of its plot in the blog post. So Mercury in Scorpio is not only inspirational of writing, of course, it, like everything to do with Scorpio, it has a penetrating, brooding hurt side. One will watch out for that. And Jupiter, Mercury in Scorpio will also offer us channel to mystical science and ancient knowledge. Yes, the next big point I've got in the general blog is that Mercury and Jupiter are beginning to square Neptune. So you see, you've already got the Mercury-Jupiter aspect, the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. But the energy of Neptune is coming in too. And this could be very inspirational and visionary. It could, I've listed the typical attributes of Mercury-Neptune in the blog post. So you could become more sympathetic and compassionate. You could have an enhanced grasp of subtle and attenuated correlations. There could be spiritual and mental communications and relationships between people. But of course, we have to remember how two-edged Neptune can be. I mean, it can be illusion, delusion, drugs and alcohol. But at times when Neptune has been emphasized in my life, it's brought clear vision and clairaudience and authorship. So it is very two-edged. And of course we can be very unclear about what's really going on. Neptune is also, the mists of the sea god Neptune, and his divine equivalent in this area, the sea god Mannanan. Okay, moving on to Venus. Well, Venus is in Libra, in Vedic Libra, for the whole of November 2018. And it's both retrograde and direct in this period. So Venus starts November retrograde at 5 Vedic Libra, but then Venus turns direct at 1 Vedic Libra on the 16th of December. That should be November. And Venus ends November at 5 degrees Libra. And okay, what will the Venus retrograde period bring us? Well, basically, when Venus is retrograde, obviously we are more attuned to the reality of love issues, relationship issues, and these can surface to be faced, dealt with, understood and healed, ideally. And of course, issues of love and art will really flower, particularly as Venus is transiting Vedic Libra. But Venus's other life areas include harmony and beauty, stock markets and value, of course. So, this combines so well with the Jupiter-Venus conjunction, offering superb energy for writing. So writing, and beautiful writing, is so well starred, and if that's your thing, we'll take advantage of that this month of November. And as I said, talking about Venus, there's this huge Venus opposition Uranus in the heavens. And significantly, it's square the nodal axis. And so this means that for babies born at this time, they will be born with powerful karmic scripts around Venus, missed steps from past lives about the combined energies of Venus and Uranus, and they need to be understood. Certainly get a chart looking at how that will manifest. And I did many charts for babies born at the time of the recent great eclipse, when Kalsarpa Yoga was in force, and that was so worthwhile to voice and share with the parents. So basically, in summary, Uranus-Venus, well, it's impulsive, it's erratic, it has variegated artistic talents, peculiar inclinations, great independence in love, detachment in love, aberrance in love. But of course it can be inspirational, visionary, revolutionary, inspired and pioneering as well, quite a handful. So let's move on to Mars. Well, the big thing is that Mars moves from Vedic Capricorn to Vedic Aquarius on the 6th of November. And Mars is in Vedic Aquarius from the 6th of November to the 23rd of December. And, okay, well, basically I want to say, what an atomic explosion Mars in Capricorn was. Remember, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Remember, it was conjunct Ketu. And, you know, Capricorn, for example, is about technical matters, but also there were sort of mystical, inspirational dimensions possible as well. And Mars Ketu is violence. So I do think probably all of us ought to plan in a bit of rest now that the Mars Ketu conjunction has finally severed.